Good evening and welcome to Friday Night Lights here at Gungahlin Enclosed Oval. It's National Premier League Round 8, Gungahlin United versus Tuggeranong United. My name's Russ Gibbs and I've got a new roadcaster to play with, so I can welcome Steve Forshaw with some sound effects. Or one of these, Steve.
Yeah, I think the latter.
Pick whichever one you want. I mean, I've got some sound effects going on there. How good's that? We can just chuck that into the commentary whenever we feel like it. Someone misses a sitter. Someone does something special. Someone scores a goal. We've got all sorts of things to play with.
You realise that half the audience has just turned off.
So that's my mum gone. But your mum's still watching. Anyway, we're here watching enough with the roadcaster. Gungahlin United, Tuggeranong United, mate. Two teams. Gungahlin bottom of the table, 5 points. Tuggeranong fifth on 7 points. Tuggeranong win today would put them into the top 4 above O'Connor Knights, where they might stay, considering the O'Connor Knights are playing Canberra, Croatia on the weekend. Gungahlin United, well, 5 points. The last game they lost 7-0. Tuggeranong off the back of a 6-0 cup defeat and a 5-0 league defeat. So both teams, let's say defensively, haven't been great in the last fortnight.
No, I mean, heavy defeats in the last week have sort of thrown the cat among the pigeons for both teams here, and both need to bounce back. Both need a decent result on the back of a really solid performance. And probably Gungahlin are feeling the heat more than Tuggeranong, given that they're the defending champions. So Tuggeranong, of course, are still finding the feet in the NPL, getting better every time, every season. Against Canberra, Croatia, they were outplayed, they were outclassed. I think they'd be the first to admit that. But they're not playing that level of opposition tonight. So they'll be looking to get back on the winning side of the ledger. And Gungahlin, like I say, last year's defending premiers, and everything at the moment seems to be going against them. They can't find any level of consistency, and they're really finding it hard to get a goal.
Did win their last home game against O'Connor Knights by 2-1 at this venue. Jenna Chirucci missed a penalty early for O'Connor. It was saved, and that gave them the fillip that they needed, Gungahlin United. When I've seen them this season, a couple of times at this venue as well, in the cup game again, they scored to make it 1-1. They looked the better side for a while. The O'Connor Knights game here, they gave themselves the lead after saving the penalty. When they've had something to defend or hold on to, they've been a different side, haven't they? But as we saw last week, when they concede, and then perhaps concede again, it just seems to fall apart.
Yeah, I mean, Monera, who they played last week, are a very good team. And they've got a lovely habit of scoring lots of goals in quick succession, and that really puts you behind the 8 ball, as we saw with that 7-0 defeat. I mean, then they got a couple of late goals as well, if I remember correctly. But in the cup game here, they looked like they turned a corner, because they were definitely the better team in the second half until the send-off. Bagley Dickinson, who will be in midfield tonight, I believe, got sent off, and that really hurt their chances. But they, they went to extra time, and had it not been for that send-off, they might well have been in the final on the 17th of June.
7th of June?
The 7th of June, sorry.
Which is next weekend, mate.
Yeah.
I hope you know that, because you're on it.
Yeah, in McKellar, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Make sure you're there. 3:30 kickoff.
I'll be there.
Queanbeyan versus Canberra, Croatia. 12:30 for Gungahlin, Canberra, Croatia. The women's double-header there this weekend. Matches galore, of course, as per normal. Tomorrow night, I'll be at Deakin Stadium. Canberra, Croatia versus O'Connor Knights with Frank Keisha. Tigers versus Panthers earlier in the day at 3 o'clock at the AIS. Both those games live, of course, on the YouTube channel, as is Sunday's offerings in the Men's Premier League, which is Ugali at home to Queanbeyan City down there in Griffith. Women's National Premier League action, all of it is taking place on Sunday this week. Tuggeranong United versus West Canberra Wanderers, Canberra Croatia versus Gungahlin United, and the game I'll be at with Sam Watson, Canberra Olympic versus Belconnen United. That's a big one.
That's a big one. That's a big one. I mean, Belconnen United have had the wood on Olympic this year. Other way around last season, of course. Olympic were the dominant team in that competition, but Belconnen have won the cup. I think they won the Charity Shield, and they've beaten Olympic in the league, so they'll be looking to turn that round.
Well, they haven't won the cup yet. They won the cup semi-final against Olympic, of course.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, but my question is, that game on Sunday, Belconnen have got the cup final the following week. Olympic have the week off. It's almost like a free hit for Olympic, isn't it? Because Belconnen, as much as you say to a player, don't look ahead to the cup final, Queanbeyan City in the same boat, Canberra Croatia in the same boat with the Javapi Derby, it is human nature to think, oh, I don't want to miss that. I don't want to get injured this week. I want to play next week.
It'll be in the back of the minds for sure. But once the game starts, you're not thinking about anything else other than playing the game you're in. But they'll be bitterly disappointed if somebody rolls an ankle, does a hammy, or gets a suspension and misses that final, that's for sure. It'll be in the back of their minds.
Wonderful segue to suspensions. Daniel Grove suspended today for Tuggeranong United, which makes an interesting change at the back. Ewan Peterkin also out injured. So Tuggeranong slightly shy on centre-backs. And if I'd given you 11 guesses as to who's going to be the centre-back today, this probably would have been the last but one person you would have guessed before Steve Nealon, who would probably been the last one you would have guessed. But Sam Walker, who normally plays as a 10 or a 9 for Tuggeranong United, is going to play central defence tonight alongside Cole Falco. Now, it's a really interesting selection by Mitch Stevens to put one of his experienced players back there, a player that is more used to going in the other direction. However, as we've spoken about off-air a couple of times as well, if you're a footballer, you can play anywhere, can't you? But what are you expecting Sam Walker to bring to that position, and what do they miss at the other end?
Well, they'll certainly miss his creativity at the other end, but it just means that creativity starts deeper in their own half, because he's capable of making terrific passes over long distances or short distance. He's a genuinely good footballer, but I think he'll bring a level. You mentioned the word experience. I think that's key. He's got the experience, and I think from what you were telling me earlier on, he's played in that position before.
But apparently when he was a kid, a long time ago.
I mean, once you've got the ball at your feet, it doesn't matter what position you're playing. The game stays the same. It's about passing. It's about getting your accuracy. It's about, as a central defender, winning your duels when you have to. Now, Walker has proven to be capable physically of winning his duels further up the pitch. I see no problem with him doing the same at the other end. And I think, and I mentioned this to you earlier today, that he's playing in that position out of necessity, but he's playing against the Gungahlin side that's struggling to find goals, so it's probably not a bad side to be going to and playing.
Yeah, it would have surprised many when they saw the team sheet and they see the lineup with Walker there. When Mitch sent it to me yesterday, I did ring him straight away and asked him if he was okay, if he hadn't banged his head somewhere along the line. But no, he was fine. There's no problem at all from him. Let's have a look at the two sides in a moment in full. But first of all, I just want to quickly talk about Gungahlин's shape, which we think is going to be something like a 3-2-2-3. So effectively a 3-4-3, but with a midfield square or a diamond. Don't know which way they're going to go yet at the moment. But when we go through the names, which we will do in about a minute or so, not much width.
No, I mean, at the box midfield, if he plays it the way he's sent it through, will be very narrow. Any width going forward will be provided by the front three, because you can't expect the back three to be chiming in, and there's no dedicated or nominated wing back. So going forward, there's going to be a lack of width. Defensively, there may be spaces outside that back three that can be exploited.
Well, let's have a look at the lineup then for Gungahlin United. Javier Roca is only named 4 subs at the moment that I can see on Dribble. We'll double check that in a moment to make sure that hasn't added someone on the end of it, because I think 4 subs seems odd if there's no 23s game, which there isn't tonight. But maybe there's just not enough players. But I'm thinking that Sam Thompson is just coming into that bench as well as I speak, Steve. So the lineup is as follows: Aidan Mumford in goal for the 30th time in the National Premier League, for the 8th time in 8 games this season. The back three will see Thomas Robertson on the right, Nikita Burns on the left, and Jack Green down the middle. Riley Brown and Josh Gaspari are in front of that three, and in front of those two, Bailey Dickinson and Yoshida Shoki, and up top Dennis Ayo on the right, Luca Flores on the left, Giancarlo Daddario named as the 9. On the bench, Jacob Kite, Eli Darwich, Deacon Palombi, Samuel Hine, the young goalkeeper, and Sam Thompson. It's an interesting lineup and an interesting formation.
It is. I mean, personnel-wise, it's probably a little bit predictable. You would be expecting Jack Green to be in there somewhere, and he is. The midfield of Gaspari, Brown and Dickinson is, I know there's a 4th one in there, but those 3 have been playing regularly anyway.
Shockey.
Shockey looks to be a decent addition to the squad. So although it's a very strange looking lineup in terms of the formation they might play, it's a reasonably strong team, and they've got in Charlie Daddario a player that's been in good form.
Tuggeranong United, though, will line up as follows in their usual 4-3-1-2, or 4-4-2 if you want to call it that. It's a little bit different to what they have done in terms of going forward. Callum Cook is in goal for the 8th time this season as normal. Nick Emmanuel on the right-hand side, Dylan Burkray on the left. Cole Falco partnering Sam Walker, as we mentioned, in central defence. 3 in front of that in Bevan Foxall, Josh Pedersen and Luke Stevens. Javier Davis given the task as the 10 in Walker's, not absence, but further back movements. Yeah. Steve Neelan and Romeo Jambrecht up front, front 2, which might scare the life out of most defences, but of pace and precision with them. Tim Santos, Zach Lawrence, Alessandro Pena, Luke Sakamoto and Flynn McDonnell-Wilson are the substitutes. It's a settled side for Tuggeranong United, even given the absentees.
It is, and Mitch Stevens has stuck true with the guys that have played the last couple of games against Canberra, Croatia. On the ball, they've looked okay, and the interesting aspect of this particular lineup is the front 2, because if they're up against a back 3, as Gungahlin have actually suggested, then that Gungahlin back 3 will have to stay reasonably narrow to mark the 2. And in Neelan, you know, you can get people to go in behind. Romeo has been in good form. It's an interesting confrontation between these two sides.
Nathan Shakespeare, the man in the middle, Cornelis Maynard and Thomas Stuparic are the assistants. And you spoke to Thomas Stuparic beforehand, and he told you, was he British background with Romanian parents?
Well, Romanian background as well, yeah, British and Romanian. He's an interesting fellow to talk to.
Well, hopefully he's not going to have much talking to do tonight. He's on the AR2 on the far side. Tuggeranong in this green kit, which is growing on me by the week.
Don't mind it.
Yeah, I didn't like it 100% until I actually had a closer look at it last week. But then that was me being traditional Tuggeranong, where yellow was the away kit. But
yeah, I actually, I think I prefer this to the green and white hoops, to tell you the truth.
Do you know what? I think I'll agree. The two teams have met 20 times in the NPL. Gunners have won 12, Tuggeranong 5, and just the 2 draws. Gunners are, though, undefeated in matches designated as home games. They've won all 9 of the NPL games played as Gungahlin home fixtures. I can't say at this venue because some of them have been elsewhere, but that's something for Tuggeranong to change tonight. And Tuggeranong have only ever scored 4 goals against Gungahlin in away games, and yet they come into this one as the favourites to win it, you'd imagine.
Well, given the current form of Gungahlin, yes, I think Tuggeranong probably are. But I don't know that there's much between the two.
Gungahlin would love a quick start. It seems they have eschewed their traditional black and white stripes this year for this more modern pink and white outlook.
Very pastel.
Some would say the change of kit hasn't helped them. And yet, they are still a win away from the top 4. They win tonight, they go into the 4.
They need a win. After last week, they need a really good performance. They need to replicate that second half of the cup game that we saw here.
Well, they will hope that they can. Josh Gaspari descended towards AO early on. Dylan Burkray playing at left back tonight, and Luke Stevens first ball forward for Neelan, and he's in behind already. Steve Neelan thought he might try the lob. Robertson's helped it back to Mumford, but there was half a chance inside 17 seconds.
Yeah, that's roughly what we were alluding to in the pre-match comments about the back 3 having to deal with the front 2.
Are you surprised Neelan didn't try the lob? It sat up nicely for him.
It looked like it was on.
Dario playing down the middle. AO. Burkray back for Callum Cook. First touch for the Tuggeranong goalkeeper.
I think Callum Cook, for his own confidence, needs a performance tonight as well, having conceded 11 in the last 2 games he's played.
That was Walker's first touch as a centre-back in the Premier League. Nick Emmanuel thumps it into Nikita Burns. One back by Bevan Foxall, who actually was very good, I thought, in the couple of games we watched against Canberra, Croatia.
Yeah, he was.
Javi Davis came on, hit the bar. That's a horrible mistake at the back by Burkray, and Shockey lets him off.
Yeah, poor first touch. Otherwise, Tuggeranong are looking at chasing the game again.
My apologies, I think it was Cole Falco, in fact, whose pass. Berkeley had gone all the way up for that. Which didn't work. It was Cole Falco, in fact, who's 90 seconds in, Steve, and some nerves on both sides.
Perhaps not unexpected, given their recent form. Before that, I mean, before the last couple of games, Tuggeranong had been in decent form. They've become almost the draw specialists.
Did that a few years back, didn't they? When
Yeah,
they just
did,
drew
yeah.
everything.
Yeah. But Gungahlin, very, very inconsistent start to the season. And had a couple of heavy defeats, one in Griffith and one last week. So.
19 NPL matches, 63 goals. Gunners have 41, Tuggeranong have 22. As I mentioned, they've never won a game away from home, Tuggeranong, against Gungahlin. Flores, great feat to get away from Emmanuel. Ball towards Ao on the far post, and that was Berkeley with a good piece of defensive work. Shoveled it out for a corner. Well, looked like they might concede after 17 seconds, and have been the better side for the following 90 seconds, that is.
Well, I think both sides will be reasonably happy with the start they've made after 2 or 3 minutes.
Josh Gaspari will take the first set piece.
But this game's yet to settle into any sort of patterns.
Plenty to aim for in the penalty area. He was looking for Jack Green. Might come away for Nealon. He'll look ahead and see no one in a green shirt, so he'll have to forage alone. The run was provided by Jambrek. Didn't go in the end.
Yeah, just lacked a little bit of patience. He, bit of inexperience perhaps, that thinking that had to go forward when it was better to actually secure possession and just play with it for a while.
Gaspari's ball picked off by Berkeley. Become United again. Ball from Stevens was picked off. And Jack Green with a long ball over the top, and Shockey's offside. I think he knew he was offside as well.
He did. But we're seeing a very high line from Tuggeranong to make the game compressed. But they've been caught out against superior opposition, I guess. In Canberra, Croatia, a few occasions they got caught out with the likes of Thomas James playing so well. They want to be careful that they don't make the same mistakes here.
Cole Falco with the free kick.
Good ball.
Obviously worked at Coram Forest, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
I think it's about the Alpine ride there and the fake snow that they bring in, that they create. Boy from Sacramento. Not sure how much snow they see in Sacramento. I'm not.
Never clue.
Probably not a lot. Correct me if I'm wrong, if you know Sacramento. Here he is with the first throw, and well, those of us who have watched NPL over the last few weeks will know exactly where this is going. Huge one into the box. Walker had come up from the back. Nealon helps it on. Jambrek got a touch. Scrambled away by the Gunners, and Daddario can find Ao. Couldn't quite get there. Ronnie Brown hooks it forward.
Looks like Bailey Dickinson has taken up a position as right back.
Does, doesn't it? Might be a bit different of what we thought it was going to be. Shockey.
I think it looks more like 4-2-3 or 4-3-3.
Maybe they changed that straight away after that initial ball over the top. Here is Brown for Dickinson. Because they started with 3, didn't they? It's gone to 3 now.
Yeah.
Robertson.
But no, I think it's a 4. I think Jack Green's playing in the middle. See, Gaspari's dropping in between the 2 central defenders. Robertson is playing as Jack's partner.
Here is Green. Ball towards Flores. The skip away, Nick Emmanuel. We'll see it out of play. He should do. Aidan Mumford has conceded 21 goals this season, and yet the game I watched against Monero last week, he was arguably their best player. Conceded 7, but if it wasn't for him, it might well have been twice that.
Yeah. It's
the stats afterwards, Steve: 36 shots
incredible.
to 4 and 17 to 1 on target.
I mean, the conversion rate is pretty good as well. 17 shots on target, 7 in the back of the net. You can't complain too much about that.
Well, and you can probably think of 4 or 5 top-class saves that Mumford pulled out in that game as well.
Very hard to be a goalkeeper when you take the players in front of you aren't helping.
There's ball in, picked off by veteran centre-back Walker. Sam Van Dyke, they're calling him these days.
After the painter.
That was Van Gogh, wasn't it? He was a bit unbalanced down the left, so I heard.
Area.
He didn't hear. Not that here, anyway. There you go, Steve. That's just for you. Jabby Davis. Shocking. Nikita Burns will struggle to keep it in. Well, he does. Actually, the wrong line, isn't it? I'm looking at the NFL line. Yeah. Shocky. The robot was out before kickoff, wasn't it? Ken Yald's robots marking the lines.
It's fascinating to watch it.
Yeah.
Did you see it when he got to the halfway line?
It's calming, isn't it?
The halfway line
spin.
flag.
Oh, yeah, when it took it out. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I thought it was a corner flag. It was marking the corner.
Tried to go over the top of it. His walkout for Tuggeranong United, 0-0 in the early stages. 8 minutes gone. Would have pinged that one towards Neelan, picked off by Green. Shockey on the turn.
Heavily involved so far, early moments.
Dickinson. Ayo. Shockey again. One back by Daddario, and he's going to get a chance here from the angle to send it across. Ricocheted and taken away.
One or two occasions now, Tuggeranong have been their own worst enemies, being caught sloppy passes or caught in possession.
Tony Oliveira's either Googled this or he's the most dull man in the world. Sorry, Tony, but Sacramento, the capital of California, snowed once in 1976. Now, I'm hoping he didn't know that off the top of his head.
He would. Tony is very, very clever when it comes to meteorological events.
Meteorological events. Thanks, Tony. That's incredible. In towards Green. Might come for Robertson. Oh, that's a hit and a half. Through the crowd and in the corner. Once it left his boots, there was no doubt where it was going to end. What a way to score your first goal of the season. What a way to give Gungahlin the lead.
Yeah, lovely finish. Lovely strike. He won't meet any shots in the future as any better than that. It was a lovely, lovely strike, and it found the corner of the net, giving Cook absolutely no chance. But as I was mentioning, the corner that created it, or assisted the creation of it, came from sloppy passing from Tuggeranong and Charlie Daddario getting in behind and winning the corner. Good start for Gungahlin, just what they needed. Definitely a back for us.
It is now. I don't think it was going to be at the start. They've got something to hold now as well, which we mentioned not long back, Steve. Yeah. When they've had that, they're a different side. Jabby Davis bursting forward. How long will the advantage last for? Stevens looking for Neelan, who stayed on side here. Clips it in towards Jambrek. Green won the header. Good response from Tuggeranong. Ayo trying to bring it forward. Gets away from Davis. Gets away from Berkray. Not from Falco. Gungahlin United.
It's actually a good game. The game has started reasonably well.
It's offside, I think, Steve Neelan. The 0-7 loss last week to the Panthers was the biggest NPL loss Gunners have ever suffered. First time they've conceded more than 6 since losing 4-6 to Tigers in round 4 2023. That was a game at the Riverside Stadium, which was absolutely manic.
And Tony Oliveira in that day.
He probably does.
He does.
10-goal classic at the Riverside. But they've got the lead here.
Yeah, really encouraging start. I mean, a wonderful strike to finish it. Really, really crisp finish.
You wouldn't believe that Thomas Robertson before tonight only ever scored 1 goal in the NPL.
Took that like a season centre forward.
He did, didn't he? Absolutely beautiful. Couldn't have hit it any crisper. Not a prayer for Callum Cook.
No. No. I mean, he just picked the gap at that far post, and any defenders that were even remotely close were well and truly beaten.
Encouraging from Javier Roca and his team. As we stand, Gungahlin United are 4th in the Premier League table with 8 points. And Tuggeranong have dropped to 6th.
Yeah. Not exactly what Tuggeranong are looking at.
Ayo looking to go through the gap. Almost burst through. Flores to turn away and have a go. Deflection will keep Daddario interested. Tuggeranong struggling to get out at the moment. Nikita Burns. Josh Kaspari. Well read by Pedersen. Stevens. Berkeray offering outside. Nealon's peeled to the left. Back with Stevens. Switcher play towards Bevan Foxall.
Yeah, good ball.
Up against Burns, who stuck to the task really well, the fullback.
Yeah, he did well. He should probably get a free kick.
He's going to. I think Nathan Shakespeare was just looking for the advantage to see if Daddario would have got on the end of it. It's good refereeing.
Very good refereeing.
Great start for Gungahlin United. Not so for Tuggeranong. We've now conceded, what's that?
12.
Yeah, but if you consider 12-13 without reply, if you consider the Queanbeyan City equaliser as well after Steve Nealon gave them the lead at High Street.
Yeah.
Mumfords. Ball away.
Yeah, it's good football.
Dickinson. Ayo. Dickinson. A bit of confidence about the Gungahlin team that has been noticeably absent from quite a lot of their games this year. Foxall.
It's funny what a little bit of pressure can do. It can either make you or break you, and so far Gungahlin have really answered the challenge, but getting that early goal will do wonders for their confidence.
Long, long way to go, though.
Absolutely.
Mitch Stevens' team yet to really wake up. Had a chance, if you've just tuned in, after about 15 seconds when Nealon got in behind, but he elected not to take the shot on and tried to run it in. Didn't work out for him.
He'll get more chances before the night's over. I'm just going to say a word on pitch. This is the best I've seen this particular venue look. Obviously, it's going to get a lot of use before the season's out, and it may not stay in this pristine condition, but at the moment, it's a football pitch.
Yeah, we walked across it, didn't we? And what we did notice when we were down there, it is very wide.
Very wide, very wide. In good nick, perfect conditions for football, very little breeze, if any. Temperature getting on the coolish side, but not too bad. You're running around, you won't notice it, that's for sure.
Tony Oliveira said he's just checked the bomb for us and there's possibly snow heading our way. Doesn't feel cold enough for snow, Tony.
I don't know why he had to check.
Just look out the window. Burns, back for Green.
Again, another good switch.
Dickinson. Doesn't look like a side that coming off the back of a 7-0 defeat. Maybe it does. Maybe this is just them with a point to prove. Daddario into the middle. It would have hurt their pride last week. Well, you would have hoped it would have.
No doubt it would. No doubt it would. I don't care how dispassionate you claim to be. That sort of hiding hurts.
Tuggeranong felt it themselves at the Riverside, conceded 5 times in 11 minutes at the start of the second half in their game there.
And I think because of that, Gungahlin might have entered this game thinking they're not better than us. We can actually match them in everything they do.
And the league table, like I said, it's not horrible for them. They've got 1 win and 2 losses. 1 win and 2 draws, rather, from 7 matches. It's hardly horrible for them. They've not lost 7 in a row. No,
but we've actually got through 1/3 of the season. And that's when you start looking at things and seeing where's the patterns forming.
Here's Shockey into the area. Cook.
Great
I think he'd running out of play already, to be fair.
Yeah, it looks like it. But good goalkeeping all the same. He wasn't to know that the flag was going on.
Yeah, we've got a chart. Like you say, you were going back to your point. You're making 7 games into the season, 1/3 of the way through the league table, sorting itself out. And it's sorting itself out into a top 3 and then a cluster of clubs, the next 5, all of them fighting for that one spot, unless there's a complete collapse from one of the top 3.
I think you're right. I think the top 3 have sort of set themselves up.
Daddario has picked the pocket of Walker here, and that's a good save from Cook. Needed to be.
Again, problems with their own making from Tuggeranong, but yet Charlie Daddario's pace getting him away from his immediate opponent, and not a bad strike. Good save, Cook.
Hasn't scored a league goal, Giancarlo Daddario, in 10 matches. He's got 2 in the cup this season.
Yeah, I thought he'd scored a couple in the cup.
He scored in the cup at the game at Woden Park against O'Connor. Got 2 in that, but he's still waiting for a first league goal. 10 games in his career. This is the 11th. Started 4 matches this season, 3 times off the bench in the league. Won't be long before he gets one.
He'll be hoping tonight.
He's taking this corner, isn't he? So
yeah, it won't be this one.
Unless he has an outside of the right foot
bender
into the top bins, which would be unlikely.
Interesting setup from Gungahlin again. Obviously Jack Green the target, but he's going to come in late.
Flat delivery, helped on by Shockey, comes to Green. Taken off his head by Burkray. Not taken back by Ao and Burns. Well, I'm not sure he knew Neelan was there. Got away with it. Enough pace on the back pass. Walker wins the header. "17 minutes gone. Gungahlin lead. Shockey. Luke Stevens does have Luke Sakamoto and Timmy Santos on the bench. He has got the option to put Burkray into central defence and push Walker into a more attacking role.
Does Mitch Stevens have that option?
What did I say?
Luke.
Sorry, Luke Stevens also has that option. Mitch Stevens definitely has that option. I don't think Luke's
press your button
the team.
now. Yeah. Press your button
yeah.
now.
There you go, thank you. But yeah, at some stage you might think if it stays like this that they're going to have to make that change.
They will. Yeah, I mean they'll be making changes whether it stays like this or it doesn't be. This 11 that's on the park from both teams won't be on the park, or not all of them, until at the end of the 90 minutes.
Well, Gungahlin, that's their 4th league goal of the season, Steve. 3 of them have come in the first half of matches.
Did they score first against Canberra, Croatia? They did, didn't they? When they beat them. Oh, no.
Against O'Connor Knights? Yes, they did, after missing the penalty.
Yeah.
After Knights missed the penalty, they did score first. Josh Kaspari after 20 minutes. Then it was 1 apiece, and Yoshida Shockey scored a goal in that goal that they're attacking to win it with 5 minutes to play.
Yeah, it's an indication that they're a confidence team, isn't it?
Well, these two met in round 1, of course, and it ended 0-0. Goalless draw at Canberra 2. No indication from that game that Gungahlin were going to struggle this season.
No, I think it probably, because they're defending champions, people looked at it when it was a bit of a surprise result, but that was to underestimate what Tuggeranong are capable of doing. And really, Tuggeranong's worst results have become against the top 2.
They almost beat Tigers, of course. Perhaps should have.
Yeah.
2 up at the AIS.
Yeah.
But they didn't lay a glove on either Canberra Croatia or Monero Panthers.
But I think, did they come back in one game from 2-0 down? Tuggeranong?
This season, they were 2-0 up.
I remember that.
Don't remember them coming from 2-0 down.
No, but just me being sent off.
I'm not going to press the button. Walker. Stevens. And it's through for Neelan, and he's going to get there, but the flag goes up. That was tight.
Wow.
Wasn't it?
Certainly, he looked to be onside here, but the line's in very good spot. Very good spot.
And from our side, looked very close indeed. Having scored in 5 consecutive games in all competitions, Steve Neelan has now drawn a blank in the last 2 he's played. I did joke with him beforehand. That's a veritable drought, isn't it, for a player who scored 14 goals in 19 league matches. This season, 3 cup games, 6 league games, 9 games in total, 10 goals. But he hasn't scored in the last 2, so...
Mini drought.
Mini drought for him. Probably the longest he's gone in his career without a goal, to be honest.
Possibly.
He's looked sharp tonight.
He's got a lot of character about him. As well as being a good player, he's stuck Tuggeranong when he could have gone quite easily to any other club that's probably pushing for honours.
Jan Breck offside. Well, I'm sure because the window opens in a couple of days, there will be people knocking on the door. There will be silly season. There's already been some moves that I won't tell anybody about, because the clubs, it's up to the clubs to tell people who they've signed and who they let go. But there will be some moves. There's some players. There's a player coming into this football club, Tuggeranong, right in front of us, that you'll find all about sooner or later. Good signing for Tuggeranong to boost their numbers. And I'm sure there'll be plenty of movement around town, as there always is.
Yeah. But it's not officially open until Monday, so not for everybody else to speculate.
No, I mean, sure, like I say, keep an eye on social media accounts of all the clubs. They will let you know, and we will let you know once they've let you know, if you know what I mean.
Well, once it's official.
Yeah. not going to turn into Fabrizio Romano and start posting speculations, unless it's about Steve Forshaw.
Not a lot of speculation about him, from what I can gather.
Well, speculation about what you're going to have for dinner tonight, Steve. And
that it?
Yeah, that was it. That's about as exciting as it gets these days.
Yeah, that didn't hit the headlines.
Cole Falco jogging across to take a throw and try and get something back for Tuggeranong midway through the first half.
This is a weapon, but they've got to use it properly.
We've mentioned this in commentary before, haven't you, Steve? Most weeks it's a good weapon, but yet to be utilised by Tuggeranong. Only once that I can remember in the Cup. Falco into the middle. Well won. Jabby Davis sends it around the corner, looking for Emmanuel, who's fired it a goal.
That's a bit unlucky. I don't think it was meant for Emmanuel, but it nearly worked out as a perfect through ball.
So the one time I've seen the throw work was the volley that Romeo Yambrek scored against, I think it was Canberra Olympic.
In the Cup, yeah. No, it's a weapon that can be used from deeper in the park as well to try and get people in behind, but it's also something that they've got to get right in the penalty area if it's going to be ultimately effective.
Pedersen sweeping it down towards Emmanuel. Will do well to keep it in, he can't. And if Mitch Stevens is getting a little frustrated down there, chatting away with John Caggiano, gesticulating. Gaspari, Shockey, Flores.
Easy ball to keep possession, was just to lay it back, wasn't it? It's those little one-percenters that eventually catch up with you.
Walker finds Falco. Pedersen. Falco again. Well, the sky by Stevens. Walker sends it forward. Jabby Davis with a header, or attempted header. Tuggeranong yet to really settle. Created some half openings, but there's been a lot of that.
Yeah.
Misplaced pass by Luke Stevens.
Yeah, apart from that early kneel and half chance, they really having trouble. Here we go, Dario's away.
Ayo's in behind.
Good defender.
Falco shut the door. Burkrate. Just looking at the league table, thinking, well, if Ugali get a win and Gungahlin get a win, Tuggeranong could find themselves 7th at the end of the day, or the end of the weekend. Could.
Yeah. If buts and maybes.
Absolutely. Well, that's as close as it could be. You could go from 4th to 7th, whereas Gungahlin might go, if results go their way, from 8th to 4th. Gaspari. Good ball almost for Flores.
Yeah, lovely play from him. He's such a good player.
Run of games for a Gungahlin now, Steve, based on the table. O'Connor Knights at home next, Queanbeyan City away. That should they get a win tonight, they might be able to kickstart their season.
Yeah, because you don't know how the Cup final is going to affect Queanbeyan City, because they'll play them after the Cup final, I presume.
Yep, after the next week.
Yeah. So
Tuggeranong get Queanbeyan City off the back of the Cup final on a midweek on a Wednesday. Yeah. So
that could go either way.
Yeah, the Cup final on the Saturday, and there's a round of Premier League matches on the Wednesday, 3 of them. Emmanuel burst through. One of those matches on the Wednesday is Canberra Croatia versus Monero Panthers from Strider Park on Wednesday the 11th of June.
It could well be deciding who finishes first and who finishes second.
A huge match. Canberra Croatia, Chivapi Derby this weekend, Cup final, and then 4 days later on a Wednesday, Monero Panthers away.
Big 3 games. Big 3 games. But they're showing at the moment that they're the team to catch.
Falco wins short to Walker. And we'll have to settle for the corner. Burns does well. But yeah, 3 huge matches. You can see them all, of course, on the Capital Football YouTube channel. Live and free.
Yes, it'll be really interesting to see whether Monero have done enough in the intervening period to actually close the gap between them and Canberra Croatia, because haven't laid a glove on them yet. But
theoretically,
certainly capable.
Come back to that in a second, as Stevens is about to take this corner kick for Tuggeranong. Not his best. He's going to get a chance to load it in again. Dario away. Monero Panthers play at 3 o'clock on Saturday. Steve. And Cranbrook Croatia will play O'Connor Knights, then the cup final before they meet Monero again on the Wednesday. So effectively, I know it's only a couple of hours, but it's 2 matches when the Panthers finished that Cranbrook Croatia need to play because of the 5:30 kickoff on the weekends. Interesting to see how they roll off the back of that as well.
Yes. I think, we've talked about this before, and other people have had the similar opinions, that the Cup has become a really important competition now. So Queanbeyan and Cranbrook Croatia in the final will be desperate to win it. It's a matter of whether they put all their eggs in the one basket.
Well, the introduction of the new Champions League second tier at the end of the season for our league champions maybe skews the thoughts towards that for a bit as well, because there's 6 matches to play in that at the end of the campaign.
And rather than perhaps just a one-off game, if you draw a New South Wales team or Victorian team in the Cup, you might be out after 1 extra game, but you definitely get 6. So it may well be that that takes...
It maybe knocks the grand final down to 3rd choice on the ladder if you want to win something, even though you want to win the grand final, of course. Anyway, that's a long way away. Bailey Dickinson, the Dario, tackled by Pedersen, and now Jambrek is stayed on side. And he can try and manoeuvre his room to get a shot away, and does, and squeezes it past Mumford. It lacked power, but it had precision. And Romo Jambrek, against his former club, it means a lot.
Well, you can't say it's against the run of play, but it was hardly a sort of world-class finish. He's just managed to roll it in the corner. And if I was critical of Tuggeranong being sloppy in the passing, Gungahlin getting caught in possession and then leaving Romeo with the freedom of the park in the middle of the back 4. And he's done what he's supposed to do and tucked it away. So we have a game on our hands of 1-1.
Manoeuvred the space, got the shot away, and the accuracy was more important than the velocity. And it's found its way past Mumford, snuck in at the post.
Yeah. It's what you tell or you try and teach kids to do when you're pressing, that once you've done your job, take up a better position. So for Romeo in the 9, he's done what he can do to actually close down early and then found a space. And Tuggeranong have then won the ball and been able to find him in that space.
A second league goal of the season, Steve, a 4th in all competitions. And bites the hand that used to feed him. Of course he does. It often happens, doesn't it? You go back to your former stomping ground and you hurt them where it hurts most.
So how does that affect Gungahlin?
Well, all of a sudden Gungahlin are on 6 points and they go above Ugali into 7th. Tuggeranong will go to 4th with the points from this. Now, how does it affect them mentally? Which is probably the question you were asking. Well, we'll see. Strong response from Gaspari straight from the kickoff. So here goes Bevan Foxall, almost squeezed it through. Jambrek would have been away again. Jack Green has eschewed his defensive responsibilities for the moment. Flores.
If he meant that's great. But...
Well, he found Ayo, didn't he? More by luck than judgment, I think. Jack Green. Riley Brown. Gaspari. Oh, Brown took it off his toe.
Yeah.
Robertson. Dickinson. The Dario. They don't look overly concerned.
No.
Gungahlin.
No. Been a measured response.
Can you smell barbecue or something?
I can smell something. Something on fire somewhere.
Might be my car. Dickinson. The Dario's swapped with Ayo at the moment and gone out to that flank so that Dennis Ayo can come down the middle. Ronnie Brown's pass wasn't quite where he wanted it. One for Jambrek to chase. Mumford comes out.
Yeah, read it well there.
Not a bad ball forward as well. Walker. That's a classy bit of defending.
He doesn't look out of place there at all, does he?
Knows exactly what he's doing. I think he was probably a centre-back up in Newcastle, and he's just come down here and fibbed.
I'll play up front.
He did win a golden boot in the Newcastle, Northern New South Wales Premier League.
From centre half. Not bad.
Xavi Davis. Stevens. Pedersen. Davis. Nealon. Pedersen. Tuggeranong also now look a bit more comfortable. Bevan Foxall.
tails are up at the moment.
Stevens, beautiful take.
Not a bad ball. Nobody at the back post.
Burns away.
In fact, there was only 3 people in the box, and I think if you're going to score goals, you've got to get more in there.
Foxall fancied it, and he's going to get himself a goal. Unfortunately, it's through the AFL posts in the background there.
Yes, ambitious attempt.
It's a big kick. That's outside the 50, mate. It's one of the super goals, isn't it? Do they still do that in AFL? Well, they used to do it pre-season, I think.
Pre-season, I think, yeah. My wife has suddenly become a AFL fan.
Has she?
Yes, my son, his partner, works for the Brisbane Lions, so she's now an avid Brisbane Lions.
Of course. Burns stumbles on the field more than anything. Foxall's won it back.
They're just getting on top now, the Greens.
Burns left one in on Foxall. Didn't like the challenge a minute ago and dished out the retribution.
Yeah, a little agricultural.
Remember Jambrek, he would have been super pleased with that goal. He needed a league goal.
Well, he's got one and he's got his team level.
Luke Stevens to take. This will be a left-footed in-swinger with some pace, I'd imagine. Walker has joined the attack. There is the ball towards, it's a cracker as well, Mumford away. Shockey got rid of it. Flores won it. And then almost got away from Berkray.
I think if he was a little bit more committed, he might have got the bounce then.
Berkray. Walker. And lift it down that flank. Nealon, half a yard to do some work. Couldn't find the pass though. Great turn from Shockey. Skipped away from Pedersen as if he wasn't there and releases Ao into the right flank channel. Support arriving from Dickinson. From Daddario, rather.
It wasn't the best ball to him, was it?
Went him a fair old whack, didn't it?
Yeah. I mean, he had more time than he could. He just relaxed and found that pass. And because there wasn't big numbers in the box, so they were going to have to sort of wait for support.
Battle of the Big Cats tomorrow, 3 o'clock, live from the AIS. And then, whatever you're doing tomorrow night, do not miss the Chivapi Derby at 5:30. The Connor Knights, the visitors to Deakin Stadium. The noisy neighbours against the Red Machine. They will be hoping they're the ones that bloody the noses of Canberra, Croatia. Yeah. They have lost once this season, of course, to Tigers. They're not...
They've certainly recovered well from that.
Yeah, they're not invulnerable. Yeah, they got over it pretty quickly. Tigers, of course, a win tomorrow could put the pressure on because they'll put themselves top of the table. Whoever wins that game tomorrow, if there is a win, will go, well, will go top. Well, Tigers will, sorry. Monero will need to win by a lot. But they would put the pressure on Canberra, Croatia either way to get something. Really looking forward to that one under the lights. Deakin Stadium.
Yeah, good venue to be playing. What time's that kick off?
5:30.
At 5:30.
Which is an interesting kick-off time. The 23s will play at 3.
Yeah.
Here's Jambrek, the goal scorer for Tuggeranong. Emmanuel, challenged by Flores.
Yes, I'll be at McKellar Stadium tomorrow afternoon, or at Spellcline. They kick off at 4:30.
CPL action, of course, 4 games. Talked by Foxall. Stevens have made a really good run forward. Decided to go to Berkray instead. Pedersen. Falco for Walker. Foxall skips away from Josh Gaspari. Digs one for Stevens. Can't keep it in play.
No. Both sides are just struggling a little bit to get that sort of passing rhythm going, and certainly in the final third to find penetration, that just that last ball is leaving a little bit to be desired from both sides.
Missed by Walker. Ao to burst into the penalty area and still go and win a corner off of Cole Falco. That CPL game, 4:30, Brindabella Blues, Belconnen v Brindabella Blues. Before that in the afternoon, Walker City Wanderers v Canberra Olympic at 12:15 down at Gissing Oval. ANU versus Canberra White Eagles and Juventus versus Wanderers, both 3 o'clock. That's your CPL matches tomorrow, if you're in the area. Good chance to catch that game at McKellar.
Yeah.
Sparry with the corner kick.
Again, Gungahlin setting up back post.
Training ground routine. Shockey. Flores. Twisting and turning, loses out to Neelan, who can stretch his legs and run into the grass ahead. It's an agricultural attempt at Flores. He's away from Brown as well. Dickinson stops the run. I wonder if Nathan Shakespeare will review that and have a word with Luca Flores, because it wasn't a pretty challenge.
I mean, there was a couple of...
Here's Shabby Davis, has a go and forces Mumford into the save.
Good save, good attempt. But I'm not sure what advantage you got out of that.
Nathan Shakespeare's had a word with him and said enough.
Doesn't do Tuggeranong any good.
Might have been one of those ones that you revisit and do give a card for, even though there wasn't contact. The intent was there, wasn't it?
I'm not worried about whether it was a card or not. Some would say yes, some would say no, but I think he did have the advantage. He was constantly under pressure after he'd been the attempted trip. He never really got his balance back.
Team have a corner anyway. Romeo Jambrek to take. Swept in towards Pedersen. Good win to Daria. Defended well tonight. He started off down the middle, didn't he, when AO was wide, but they've swapped.
Yeah,
and I think it suits them both where they are, to be fair.
Yeah, I don't think it's the last swap you'll see, though, Russ. I think it's probably a tactic to get some interchange going on. But yes, I think since they've put AO in the middle, they've looked a little more of a threat.
I was going to say because he can hold it up, but he's missed that completely.
But, you know, it's a couple of corners now, once they've been cleared, have found him. So he's obviously taken up some good positions.
Burcray's ball forward finds Jambrek. Emmanuel. Loose second touch. Sparry and Green exchange passes. Burns. Calmly done.
Yeah.
Gaspari loves these kind of switches. And here goes Daddario down that right flank again. Shockey in the middle.
Again, the last ball.
Very open. Jambrek. Foxall. Oh, Needham would have been onside there, I think. Was caught late, Bevan Foxall. Coming up to half-time. 5 minutes to play.
It's a game that sort of ebbed and flowed without really hitting any heights. But at 1-1, everything to play for, isn't it?
Yeah, plenty still to come. And Tuggeranong nick a lead. Gungahlin have conceded 25 goals in their last 7 matches, including this one in all competitions, having kept successive clean sheets in round 1 and 2. Burcray. Dickinson wanted that and made it his own.
Did very well. I think, is there a match ball right over against the far fence?
It's a ball of some description, yes. Whether it's a match ball, I don't know how that got there, if that's the case.
There's certainly 3 available.
Yeah, well, there's a one for you for later on, mate. Have a wander around, take one home.
No, I won't be sprinting across that.
I think it's probably from the warm-up, isn't it? And Gungahlin will warm me up around that area. To the right of it, misplaced parcel 2.
Speaking of which, Tuggeranong win possession back as a result.
Davis finds Jambrek. Thought about the hit, and then the angle was prohibitive for the second strike.
Yeah.
He was going to take it, needed to be first time.
And it needed to get Jack Green onto his right foot.
Gaspari is giving it away to Neelan. who doesn't mind a hit.
On target. But no trouble for Mumford. But Tuggeranong, I think, since they've equalised, have probably had the better of it.
It's more maybe what you expected the game to flow like. All Mumford miscontrolled, got out of it well. Foxhall's having the better of this battle with Burns at the moment, but that's a cracking recovery from Nikita Burns. Super tackle. Jack Green almost gave it away. Gaspari pegged themselves in here, haven't they?
A little bit.
Shocky. Mumford, we shanked it horribly. Riley Brown's got some distance on it, and that's a foul by Luke Stevens. Got away with one. Well, there hasn't been any cards, has there?
No.
Josh Gaspari might get one now for asking for one.
Football's gone woke.
Nathan Shakespeare's just having a word with him, saying don't ask for cards. In the meantime, that's allowed Yoshida Shoki to get some space. All in the tactics. Gaspari.
Say good day to Mars Jadrich. Using his material.
Who?
Marzi Jadrich. He says football's gone woke.
Is that what he says? Neelan. Good ball out wide. Run away. It's a good battle from Luke Stevens with Thomas Robertson. Dickinson ridden the challenge. And now can advance forward. And a slip at an inopportune moment has allowed Shoki to open it up here. Score for Gungahlin United. Yoshida Shoki in consecutive home games took advantage of the mistake, and just before half-time, Gungahlin are back in front.
Geez, that's well taken. That's really well taken. I mean, yes, there's a little bit of good fortune when the defender slips. I actually thought Dickinson had gone the wrong way. If he'd have gone to his right, I think Daddario was in a mile of space. But he's turned out he's made absolutely the right decision. Shoki restores Gungalin's lead with a very, very nice finish.
2 in the league, 1 in the cup for the Japanese imports. Both his goals in the league have come at that end. 5 minutes before full-time in the last home game against the Knights. 1 minute before half-time at home to Tuggeranong United. And just when Tuggeranong, you were saying, Steve, are becoming into the game in terms of controlling it, they now found themselves behind again.
But it just shows you how effective a run from deep can be, because Dickinson did really well down that right-hand side. Got past a couple of players, played a pass, got people in behind, and it was just that sort of positivity that resulted in the reward of a goal.
And beautifully taken it was as well.
Lovely.
Yoshida Shoki across the keeper into the far corner. Tuggeranong needs to find a response again. Stevens into the middle. Mumford took it off the head of Jambrecht, who was coming in.
You'd be in no rush to get this forward.
No needs to be in a rush.
No.
Coming up to stoppage time. Stevens. Burkrate slices it out of play.
Really no excuse for that. Interesting 45 minutes.
Gunners won their last home game by 2-1. They're winning this one by 2-1. Doesn't feel like we've seen the last of the goals tonight, though.
No, I don't think so.
Foxhall does brilliantly to find Emmanuel, who just burst past Burns. Ball wasn't bad. Just
good run. Again, it's that run from fullback that's causing a little bit of an issue. Saw it with Dickinson in the goal, and just seeing it again.
Burns, Gaspari, Flores, Ayo. One back. Cole Falco trying to get something going forward. He'll get a throw. Well, he won't. It's gone the other way. Just in front of the dugouts. Gungahlin bench. Burns to take. Walker hasn't had the chance to affect the game really from so deep. I do think that they will change this.
Maybe.
He's giving it away to Gaspari. And that's invited Shockey down the far side again. The Dario first time ball. Oh, that's brilliant. Ayo! Good save from Cook.
Great move there.
Wonderful football.
Yeah, fabulous to watch. That'll bring the crowds back, Russ. People that are watching this, both of them would have been on their feet then.
The confidence of the Gungahlin team. And Tuggeranong, they're not exactly hanging on at the moment, but they're being pegged back. And here comes Flores. Don't want to concede a third before half-time.
Poor option for Flores.
Neelan forced to go a long way across field. And that'll do for half-time, says Nathan Shakespeare. And Steve Forshaw, a very watchable first 45 minutes of NPL action.
Yeah, interesting 45 minutes. Both teams pretty evenly matched. We saw what we thought was going to be a back three from Gungahlin morph into a back four. And in the end, it's having a right fullback that's been prepared to get forward that's given them the 2-1 lead at half-time. Tuggeranong definitely not out of this. After they scored, they looked like they were going to get on top and then conceded again. Sort out their defensive issues, and this Tuggeranong outfit can actually cause some problems with the teams in this competition, but as long as they continue to defend as loosely as they have, they're going to concede goals, and that is what Gungahlin will be hoping in the second half.
Crisis at Gungahlin Enclosed? Well, not a bit of it at the moment. They're sitting fourth in the National Premier League as it stands. Because at half-time, they lead Tuggeranong United. A goal from Thomas Robertson in the 9th minute, cancelled out by Romeo Yambrek's goal 20 minutes later. But just before the break, Yoshida Shockey taking advantage of a slip in defence to fire Gungahlin in front. At half-time at Gungahlin Enclosed Oval, it's Gungahlin United 2, Tuggeranong United 1. Welcome back to Gungahlin Enclosed. We're at half-time. Gungahlin United lead. Tuggeranong United by 2-1. My name's Russ Gibbs. Steve Forshaw with me. We were just talking to Pat McCann.
We were.
Oh, Pat McCann, football extraordinaire. Played in Canberra for a while. Was a coach here and worked at Capital Football and had a spell over in England with Yeovil Town. And there you go. Blast from the past. I've got a trophy for Pat McCann for when he won a futsal championship in 2011 that I need to give to him next time he comes down. Sat on my desk in the office with Pat McCann's name on 2011, 14 years later.
Ago.
Yeah, I found it in the office.
That deserves a boop-boop-a-doo.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, 14 years it's been waiting for Pat McCann to pick it up. But, you know,
Tottenham have won trophies since then.
Only the one, mate. Yeah. Anyway, Pat McCann, looking at Pat McCann now. Jacob Kite is looking like he's going to come on.
He's on.
And he's on. And I'm wondering who it might be for. And it looks like, is it Dennis Ayo?
Well, certainly Dennis is not out there.
And the other 10 are, aren't they? It looks like.
Yeah.
So it looks like that's the change for Gungahlin United. It's Jacob Kites for Dennis Ayo. Jacob Kites had a good game in the Cup here. The defeat to Tigers. Bit unfortunate not to start the following game.
He's a funny boy. I've watched him over the last 2 or 3 years.
Funny ha-ha?
No, it's a player. If he was funny ha-ha, we'd have him doing the jokes, Russ, not me and you.
We're definitely not funny ha-ha, mate.
But he's one of those guys that, on his game, he looks like a world beater, but there's too many games where he's sort of a little bit inconsistent.
This is only his second appearance of the season. Both of them off the bench. His 13th National Premier League appearance.
Yeah, he's only young, isn't he? Yeah. Is he 20 yet?
I don't know. I don't know the ages much. We're just looking at Tuggeranong to see if they made any changes, and the answer is no. Mitch Stevens has said, well, you've got us into this mess.
You get us out.
And that's it. And you know that, Steve, because you've used that one yourself.
Once or twice.
I do remember one time when I was your assistant at Tuggeranong, just before we played South Hobart, and we played Canberra Olympic away, and we were 4-0 down at half-time, and you went in the changing room, and you just said, if you want to be on the plane on Wednesday, be better, and walked out the room. And Sean Murphy looked at me and went, is he serious? And I was like, he's deadly serious. What are we going to do about it? And in the second half, they drew 1-1, lost 5-1, and came back in very chirpy. And the question was, well, they'd up sticks and pulled up the stumps and gone home at half-time. They're 4-0 up. The game was over.
Definitely affected. And once they qualified to go to South Hobart...
It did, didn't it?
Yeah, it affected them.
That first half was poor. Anyway, talking of poor first halves, that wasn't the best from Tuggeranong, was it? So, which is what reminded me of that, because I was thinking what Mitch Stevens might have said in the changing room at the break. Romeo Jambrecht's won it back.
I'm certain that he'd have been talking about...
Good run from Davis. Now here's a chance. Ball in towards Neelan. Might come for Stevens. Comes off Neelan. Stevens. Dylan Burcray couldn't get there, but the throw will give Falco the chance to launch it in.
Scrambly defence from Gungahlin, effective defence from Gungahlin. But I'm sure that Mitch Stevens would have been talking about rest defence and what they've got to do when they're in possession for long periods of time and not to lose their concentration, keep that back door shut.
Falco with the gloves on. Wonder if it gives him extra grip. No. It's the answer. Slipped out of his hands. And that will be the gloves, I reckon.
Possibly.
Being a bit dewy. Won by Falco. That was the time to press the yellow button, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it was. Oh, here we go.
Ball towards Shockey. And Cooks fumbled and gathered, teasing Yoshida Shockey.
Who seems to be playing in that predominantly wide left role. From a midfield sort of threat.
Pedersen, Walker, still deployed as a centre-back. No change from Mitch Stevens in the shape.
Just sloppy passing. I'm sure he would have talked about defending, like I said, but he would also have been talking about being a lot more careful in possession, particularly in that final third.
What do you make of the starting position of the fullbacks, Emmanuel and Burcray, being good 30 metres or so ahead when the centre-backs have got it? Is that where you want your fullbacks to be?
I don't think that's a bad thing.
Sorry, Neelan has a pop.
It's I mean, modern philosophy suggests that you get your fullbacks high and wide. But, I mean, you don't have to do it on.
But then this might happen. Dario.
And that's, yeah.
And it's been left for Shockey. Looking to create the space. Lays one back for Flores. That's a tidy save from Cook.
Good move again from Gungahlin. They're really good football. Really good football. We saw elements of that in the first half, and we've seen it again now.
I think Luca Flores thought he'd scored.
Yeah, it was a good save, wasn't it? But I think, getting your fullbacks high is no problems with there. It's how you actually deal with it when they've gone and you lose possession. And it's how you rotate wingers and midfielders through the spaces that they leave, sort of thing.
I think the good thing about that save from Cook wasn't just that he saved it, it was he held it as well.
Which probably suggests it didn't have a lot of pace on it.
I think it was all about the placement, wasn't it?
Yeah. There was a side footer, I think.
Robertson finds Dario. Going to slide it through, but Cole Falco's got there. Dario sold himself way before the Cole Falco.
Taxi for Dario.
Picked up by Shockey.
In Shockey and Gaspari, they've got the two best players on the park. Both heavily involved, both quality.
Kites, first involvement. Wins his team a throw.
Trick for Tuggeranong, I think, and it's almost like a 4-4-2 now with Tuggeranong, is can they get Neeland into the game in good position? To the moment, apart from that early chance right at the start of the first half, he really hasn't had much service at all.
15 seconds in, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Gungahlin United have won just twice in their last 12 matches in all competitions. There were just one win in the last 10 fixtures in the league. You wouldn't think so, judging by the way they're playing here.
No, they've done well.
Flores. Shockey. Stepping inside again. Enjoying himself.
Yeah, it's good football.
And bringing in Dickinson, whose eyes lit up.
Yeah. It was a reasonable decision to take the shot on, but obviously technique lacking.
Bailey Dickinson, 15th National Premier League game of his career. You won't be surprised to know 0 goals so far.
He's a young man with a big future, though. He'll get goals. I mean, I'm not sure that fullback is his best position. He'll just be happy to be playing, of course, in the stadium.
I've seen him play fullback. I've seen him play 6.
Yeah.
I've seen him play further forward. He's got a lot of attributes. And he can strike a ball a lot better than what we've just seen as well.
Yeah, I mean, everybody misses shots.
Not from up here, we don't, Steve. 100% record. Well, Luca Flores is going to get a card for that because he's had a nibble in the first half.
It's hardly stopping you promising a take, though.
I think that's probably... You didn't get one earlier for the nibble at Steve Neeland.
Yeah.
Have that one. That's his second yellow card of the campaign.
I'm just going to say the last shot I had contained alcohol.
Was it a racket at Queen Mid City?
No.
Cole forward. Burkray sends it on. Offside against Steve Neeland again.
They're not in at the moment, Tuggeranong. They're just struggling to get a foothold in this second half.
Luca Flores, this is his 96th Premier League game tonight.
Already.
And he scored 36 goals.
Not a bad return.
Decent efforts.
Played for me at Belconnen.
Musician by trade, isn't he, as well?
He loves his guitar.
And loves to sing.
Yeah.
I think his band's called Muesli, if memory serves right.
If it's still going, yeah.
If they're still going. They were very good, weren't they?
They're okay. If you like that sort of thing.
I mean, might have won Eurovision. Should have entered. Had a half a chance, I reckon. Jabby Davis.
Yes, Tuggeranong's chance.
Nick Emmanuel to sweep it in, and it's a good one too. Stevens wasn't far away. Couldn't stretch to get a touch on it. Wasn't Stevens, my apologies. That's Stevens sending it in, and it's won by Neelan over the crossbar. It was actually Dylan Burkray that far forward, which is a surprise.
Well, he's been tasked with playing on the right-hand side of a back four, and you really need your fullback to offer a little bit in attack as well. So he did on that occasion, and it was a good ball in.
Well, it's 3 up in that attack, and 2 of them were the 2 fullbacks.
Yeah.
Nick Emmanuel on the right, Dylan Burkray on the left.
One of the things that's lacking for him at the moment is the numbers in the box.
Gungahlin have seen out 8 minutes of the second half in relative comforts. Gaspari knew that Jack Green was there. Finds Dickinson.
With a lot of confidence in each other.
A lot more confidence than many felt around us, I think. Kites. Awkward customer. Brown forward, looking for Dickinson.
Actually, nice football play now. Risky, but nice football.
Stevens volleys it away after Pedersen won it. Jambrek, bounce was awkward. Gaspari won it only as far as Davis. Played wide. There's Neelan running off the shoulder of Green. Trying to trick Jack Green. He's seen it all.
But there's only one plays in the box. I mean, that's where, as a young player, he's got to learn how to be patient. And only one player in the box. The chances of you finding him is very, very slim.
Well, you can drop a shoulder, you can jink, you can go left and right. But Jack Green, in 202 Premier League games, has
seen it all before.
Yeah, seen it, done it, got the T-shirt and the medals. Given away to Shockey. The Dario's the option outside. Dickinson, Shockey, Gaspari, Dario. Little 1-2 almost came off.
Nearly.
Burkray shins in the way. Tuggeranong United got some subs warming up. Not too vigorously, but nonetheless, they might be thinking about a change. Davis, Robertson, Brown, Pedersen close to him. That was nicely done by Brown, but Stevens takes over. Falco.
Played well, Falco. One or two iffy moments in the first half, but generally his games were pretty solid.
Walker, starting position from Emmanuel is very high again. And that's not a good ball from Walker. Shockey, 4v4 at the moment. Kite sweeps it into the middle. Dario got there and might have done better.
He's cleared it, hasn't he? It was a great ball in from Kite. And it was lovely football once they'd taken advantage of the transition. And the ball in was just spot on. Dario's just got it all wrong. But it was a good run from Dario to get himself into a good position.
Tried to open the body up and volley it
yeah.
in, and all he did was get it off the heel back from whence it came.
And I'm just wondering whether being that high that a little header might not have been
the only thing mitigating circumstances I think for him is it was between twixt and tween, wasn't it? It was like neither a header or a side foot. It was awkward.
But he got to it first.
Do you know, he probably had time to chest it down.
He might have.
There was no one near him. But you can see what he was trying to do. And a great run, as you mentioned. Good turn by Foxall. Going through the gears and has a par 2-2. It's a splendid finish from Bevan Foxall. Turned, advanced, and took his chance. And we're all square again.
Yeah, I mean, he's done his job. Very positive run out of midfield and a strike on target. Not sure Gungahlin's goalkeeper will be overly pleased with his own involvement in that because it wasn't a rocket that beat him, and it beat him at the nearer post. So, yeah, perhaps a little bit to deliberate on after this. But nonetheless, whether it's against the run play or not, it gets Tuggeranong back in the game.
Positivity reaps reward.
Does indeed.
Bevan Foxall on the turn had no intention other than driving forward and having a pop at goal. And much like Romeo Jambrek's finish, the placement rather than the power has done for Mumford.
Yes, it was. Yeah, it's gone in at the near post. It wasn't particularly well hit, apart from being on target.
Lovely touch to Dario. Dickinson. Dario might be thinking back to his miss now. A costly one. Could have been 3-1. We're now back 2-2. What have Gungahlin got?
A corner at the moment.
Well, they've led twice already. Just a start to the second half Mitch Stevens would have asked for. Just a start to the second half that Javier Roca would have dreaded.
And they'd been on top since the start of the second half, and no, it hadn't created a plethora of chances, but certainly possession they were dominating, and suddenly they find themselves up against it.
Gaspari in, away by Emmanuel. Off goes Neelan, shows a bit too much of it. And it's missed by Nikita Burns. Neelan's got Falco furthest forward from the back. And now they're a bit short, perhaps. Burns. Oh, Flores came short.
Yeah.
Burns went long, and Tuggeranong United can recover.
Burns a dodge one there. Went down too early in the tackle, and Neelan skipped away from him, but the rest of his defenders got across and just delayed him long enough for him to take advantage.
Cole Falco made an 85-metre run to get on the end of that up front, down the centre forward position. Just prior to that, Steve Neelan met Thomas Robertson, didn't he? Bounced off him.
Would have been like hitting a wall.
Now this is very much in the balance. Could go either way. Falco. Good start to the NPL weekend. Walker, Manuel. Direct run from him as well.
Order of the day, isn't it?
Well, it's been getting the results, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So why not? Ronnie Brown. Balls this near side to Cracker. Dickinson, he's got room as well, and he's got the Dario outside him, using the full width of this massive field here at Gungahlin Enclosed. The Dario.
Two minds.
Yeah, thought about the cross, then thought about taking him on, then thought about the cross, by which time it was too late.
But good football again. Riley Brown's ball out to Dickinson was a good one. Dickinson brought Dario in at the appropriate time, but Charlie unfortunately caught in two minds, moved breaks down.
Falco forward, massive clearance. Robertson with a header. Gaspari, Dickinson, Dario, Gaspari, wonderfully done. And he slides it through almost for Flores. Falco got in the way. Now they might be able to spring something in the other direction. Jabby Davis. There hasn't been loads of chances, Steve, but there's been just enough jeopardy when each side go forward to suggest there's going to be more goals.
The game's quite open, and you would think that that would lead to a lot of better chances being created. It's just quality in the final third that stopped that. But it's an open game, and there's more goals in this if one team or the other, or both, can just get the last pass right. So again, great example. Gaspari gets through, just fails to beat the defender.
Still got half an hour to play. Walker. Slide rule ball for Foxall. Gaspari takes it off his toes. Likewise, Pedersen on Flores, who stayed down.
It's shocking.
Oh, shocking, yeah, apologies, it is. Stevens spinning away. No foul at the other end.
Had to be close.
Both teams were thinking they should have got a foul.
Yep.
Pedersen thumping challenge under Dario. Riley Brown on the fully recovered Shockey. Was a bit slow getting to his feet, but he has been busy, so maybe he's just a bit tired. And he wins a free kick.
I think he was just trying to milk it, yeah. I mean, the other one looked more of a free kick, didn't it? But
well, there was 3 challenges in quick succession. 2 of them maybe of a free kick, and
the third
one that we thought wasn't. And who's talked themselves into a book? I think that is Jabby Davis.
That's a bit silly, isn't it?
Joins Luca Flores. And Nathan Shakespeare's notebook. Gaspari feels like an important spell of the game. Pedersen. Now Davis. There's plenty of room out here for Neelan. Davis.
Sloppy pass and just no excuse for it. And Mitch Stevens will be tearing his hair out.
He's chatting to his substitutes at the moment, Mitch Stevens.
Jesus, that's a hard ball for him.
He's having a long conversation with Luke Sakamoto here, the Tuggeranong coaching staff. Seb Kinghong down there.
Does that mean they're going to perhaps stick one of the fullbacks in at centre half and push Walker further forward?
Neelan's won it. Jan Breck. Flag stays down. Steve Neelan. Jan Breck in the middle. Can't find him. They'll settle for the corner. Riley Brown. That's what I'm thinking. Seb Kinghong's gone to have the chats with Luke Sakamoto. Perhaps it is going to be the change. Mitch Stevens was down there too. And I think the change will likely be exactly what you say. One of the fullbacks off, Sakamoto maybe into central defence, and Walker further forward perhaps. We will see.
I think it might be a midfielder off.
I'm sorry, midfielder, that's what I meant. I don't think a fullback could be three at the back. Anyway, we will see. That's who the longest conversation was with. Jambrek into the area, missed by Stevens, scooped away. More meaty clearance that time from Riley Brown. Quite missed it. And then won it back, and the advantage will be played. Shockey. Good ball on the overlap.
Oh, dear. No left foot.
Ball in. Wasn't his best. One back by Shockey, though. This might be dangerous. Jacob Kite. Long way around, but couldn't squeeze it past Falco.
Yeah,
Tuggeranong can't clear it.
Thought Shockey was the one to pull the trigger, should have done.
Brown gives it away to Stevens. Jabby Davis. Driving run forward from him as well. Jambrek to the right. Neelan in the middle. Davis joining him. Jambrek towards the far post. Burkray was up there.
Yeah. Tuggeranong's problem at the moment when they get forward is get the ball into wide like he did with Romeo then, but he's got no support. The only thing he can do is go in the penalty area, and that ball has got to be absolutely perfect.
Two changes. Luke Sakamoto and Lawrence. Zach Norris, I was going to say. Zach Lawrence.
Zach Norris?
Don't ask me why. Dylan Burkray off. And it's Romeo Jambrek for Lawrence.
Presumably Walker goes further forward, does he?
Well, that would be like for like Sakamoto for Burkray, wouldn't it? Lawrence.
It's gone left back. So they're pushed.
So Lawrence has gone left back.
Oh, right back, sorry.
So right back. Sakamoto to left back. Nick Emmanuel's gone further forward.
Nick Emmanuel's gone into the 9.
Interesting change again.
Yeah, I would have thought maybe put him into middle of the back 4 and push Walker forward, but Mitch has opted for the big lad as a target.
Interesting change. Nick Emmanuel did come to the football club as a striker from Newcastle.
Oh, there we go. Well, so did Walker.
Walker, yeah. But they turned Nick Emmanuel into an effective fullback. Foxall finds Sakamoto, first involvement for him. Stevens. I understand that Luke Sakamoto missed the game at Croatia last week because his car broke down on the way back from Sydney.
Oh, I heard that, yeah.
Was unable to play. Good ball forwards. Stevens on the turn. Emmanuel, and he's forced a save from Mumford. Good strike.
Well, he certainly looked like a forward then.
No second thoughts.
No, turn and shoot.
Green.
Languid left foot.
Once Dickinson. Brown. Back for Robertson.
Yeah,
that's an awkward pass as well. And they've been pegged themselves in here.
Yeah, lost all momentum through.
Jack Green's lost the football to Nick Emmanuel.
That's offside.
Yeah, Newman's offside. They dodged one there, a bit lucky.
Yeah, they were. I mean, it was a problem of their own making once again. Being too passive, playing backwards too often. Riley Brown had no need to play backwards there. He had plenty of space. He could have turned and played forward. He played a backward pass and it's all gone wrong.
First time tonight, Gungahlin United have looked like a football side that had a little bit of confidence drained out of them in that one particular spell.
Yeah.
Other than that, they've looked reasonably good. Very good in some parts. Sakamoto. Falco. Back for Cook. If you are a Gungahlin fan, there's been plenty to be optimistic about from this performance so far.
Stevie Nealand hasn't been able to find, so I nearly found some then. He must be feeling almost claustrophobic, being so tightly marked.
When you burst onto the scene and you score goals, this is what's going to happen. Teams will take notice.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the space will become a little bit more difficult to find. He's still got that ability, of course. A half chance might be all he needs.
Yeah. Shout out again to Tony Oliveira. Private joke, this.
That's all right. You can shout out to Tony Oliveira as often as you like. At least he's watching.
Well, he might have watched the first half. And
he's definitely watching. He's got nothing better to do on a Friday.
Nodded off.
Glass of wine in hand.
Definitely have a glass of wine in it.
Walker. Pedersen to turn.
He's a connoisseur of fine wines.
Absolutely.
$3 a flagon.
And not so fine wines as well.
Yeah.
Just a consumer. Great touch. Flores. Riley Brown hasn't quite got the pace to get away. Got the skills, though. Brilliantly done. Flores.
No, had to play the Shockey. Had to.
He had Shockey to his left. Yeah. Javier Roca is going through the ringer below us. He's fuming that the ball wasn't played by Flores. You can understand a striker in that position wanting to have a pop. But yeah, Yoshida Shockey was right there.
No, he had to play him. And Shockey has let him know, too.
I don't think Luca Flores, experienced as he is as a nearly 100 games in Premier League, needed many people to tell him.
Oh, no, he would have known. But great run from Riley Brown. Again, that positive drive through midfield.
The only mitigating circumstance, Steve, in that kind of position is if that left foot shot finds top corner.
Oh, yeah, if you're going to shoot from there.
And then you'll let him off.
Yeah, you've got to score. Unfortunately, that's the way the cookie crumbles.
Here's Zach Lawrence from the bench. Sam Walker. Josh Pedersen. Ball forward, Van Neelan. That's a lovely reverse ball. And here's Emmanuel. That's a great save by Mumford. What a pass from Neelan.
Great ball.
Great chance for Manuel. Good goalkeeping from Mumford to smothered it. That's high foot against Flores.
Yeah.
Who's already got a yellow card, and I think he'd be okay because he definitely made an attempt for the ball there.
Oh, it was accidental. There was no malice in that. Oh,
no. Yes, he's got a second yellow for it. And Luca Flores has been sent off.
That is harsh. That's just an accident, for God's sake. Just give the free kick.
No malice intended at all from Luca Flores, but suddenly the momentum of the match switches.
I'm not even sure that he would have seen that the defender was there with that.
I'm happy to be corrected, but when I see the replay, Steve, but I think he was looking at the ball.
Of course he was.
And he's turned around and caught the guy in the head.
I mean, you definitely got to give the free kick, but is that worth a sending off? It's not as if he's deliberately tried to hurt his opponent. Just an accidental contact. Anyway, it is what it is.
Is sent off. Gungahlin down to 10 with 18 and a half minutes to play.
Don't want to be too critical of the referee because he's had a good game other than that, but that's a blemish from my point of view.
Quite often with high feet, though, they are instructed to just give the card.
And if that's the case, he's got the right decision, yeah.
But you can feel a little bit for Luca Flores.
There's been worse challenges on this field that have gone unpunished.
Here's Shabby Davis. Little layoff. It might come here for Steve Neelan, who scores for Tuggeranong. It broke for him, the half chance, and he tucks it away. And in the space of about 60 seconds, Gungahlin's match has gone from bad to worse. They were behind, and now they're in front.
The game has just turned on its head completely. Tuggeranong, to their credit, had just kept plugging away, stayed in the game, got the equaliser when they did, and then Steve Neeland, who's had a relatively difficult night, not in so much as he's played badly, but he's been wrapped up really tight. And the ball, the one chance that he's got, he's tucked away. And he gives Tuggeranong a lead 3-2. And Gungahlin, mountain to climb now with 10 men.
You have to feel for them. No sooner are they reduced in number than they're behind on the scoreboard. And I mentioned literally 5 minutes ago that Steve Neeland hasn't had a sight of goal, but he thrives on a half chance, and the one chance he's got, he buried.
He did indeed.
Never looked like missing.
He didn't. I mean, Mumford in the Gungahlin goal, I think he was a little bit at fault for the second one, but the third one, no chance.
Similar kind of area to the chance Nick Emmanuel had a moment ago, which Mumford smothered, but Steve Neeland, the form he's in, was never going to miss.
No.
11 goals in all competitions this season for him, 6 in the league. It's not enough for a lead in the Golden Boot. It puts him on joint second alongside Jace Dotson of Ugali,
but he's
Nick Pradatina of Croatia. He's Shockey to Ben one.
The Flores send-off comes, of course, after he's just failed to set up Shockey, so he's had a bad 3 or 4 minutes. But Tuggeranong now got everything to play for. The 3 points are valuable for Tuggeranong. Now they're in front, you can expect them to be defensively a little more solid.
I mentioned way back when at the top of the broadcast, Steve, that Tuggeranong United had only ever scored 4 goals in the history of away games against Gungahlin United. Well, they're quarter of an hour from the 90-minute mark here, and they've got 3 already. They've never won here. They've never won an away game against Gungahlin.
They won't get a better chance than me.
Walker, Lawrence.
A lot of character, Tuggeranong. A lot of character.
Pedersen, Javier Roca must be sat down there thinking, what is this season going to throw at them next? Sakamoto.
He must have walked under a ladder.
Whilst running over a
cat.
Running over a black cat and smashed it whilst holding a mirror which he dropped.
So he's only got 7 years to go?
Apparently something like that, if you believe in all that kind of thing. Luke Stevens. Walker.
Yes.
Now they're dropping deeper, Gungahlin, as you would expect.
Yeah.
But it's inviting Tuggeranong on. Neeland's offside.
Not for the first time tonight.
Well, his mini gold rout's over.
I was just going to say the same thing. Took the words right out of my mouth.
2 games without a goal. It's becoming ridiculous. Dickinson. Gungahllin's still very much in this, even with 10 men. Neeland.
Sorry.
I think the flag might go up here against Nick Emmanuel. It will. And he's caught Mumford as well. It wasn't a pretty challenge from Nick Emmanuel.
What is Mumford doing?
The foot was up from Nick Emmanuel. He's going to get a yellow card for it. Aidan Mumford.
To the credit of the referee, he has been consistent.
I think Mumford might get one here as well.
He should do.
Might get away with it.
No.
No, he won't. He wasn't happy with the challenge, was he?
No. He's not a happy chap all round because it's not been Gungahlin night, but that's not Tuggeranong's fault.
In his defence, it wasn't the best of challenges
for
Nick Emmanuel.
No, but the referee was taking charge.
Nick Emmanuel becomes the second Tuggeranong player to get a yellow card. Aidan Mumford, technically, the second Gungahlin player.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Launches that forward to Dario. It's been quiet since he's missed that half chance, or that good chance, if you want to call it. 3/4 chance?
Give it 3/4.
Dickinson.
Been more involved in the second half, Dickinson. That's
good touch from Dario. Robertson likewise. Shockey too. Robertson's got the taste for it after his opener, which seems a long time ago now.
Yeah. I think if you're going to play that sort of ball, you've got to keep it out of the box, give your fullback a bit of a chance.
No under-23s game tonight, of course. That was postponed due to the fact this one had to be brought back to 6:30 kickoff. Touch that from Stevens, was it? Off his knees.
Meant it, didn't he?
Neeland Sakamoto's gone bursting outside. That'll invite Neelan to go inside, and that's some hit and some save from Aidan Mumford. That came off the boot with some power and swerve, and that's a top stop.
That was good football all round. Good goalkeeping, top save. Just got the ball over the bar, but Neelan cutting inside and letting fly. Lovely strike.
Such a pure hit, wasn't it?
Very, very, very technically sound.
Brilliant save from Mumford as well.
Wouldn't have had to go too much further right to be nestling in the top corner there.
I think the goalkeeper made that look ridiculously easy, that save, the way he flung that arm up, because that was shifting. And it moved on the air on him as well.
It did, for sure.
Stevens for Tuggeranong to swing it in. Mumford through the crowd. Pedersen back the same way. And a swing and a hit on Shockey. Free kick goes Gunner's way.
Well, they've got the best part of 15 minutes, probably, with injury time. There'll be coming a stage within the next 5 or 6 minutes where they're going to have to throw everything forward to try and get an equaliser. Not panic stations just yet. But it wouldn't surprise me to see somebody like Jack Green push on and try and get the equaliser.
Here he is. Hasn't had a foray from centre-back since the first few minutes. Walker's header. Look at the space in the middle of the park. Jabby Davis, Bevan Foxall rather, was blocked by Jack Green. Kites ball forward, picked off by Falco.
Put in a shift, Charlie Daddario. He's worked his socks off.
That's probably why he's been quieter since that chance. He's probably knackered. Dickinson. It's a poor ball. Pedersen. Now Neelan can have a go at Robertson. Neil fancy himself here. Yeah. Steve Neelan. Oh. Leaves it behind. That was an interesting challenge. Bailey Dickinson, if he made contact with nothing in the end.
Neelan might have been on his way. But Neelan just sort of stepped on the ball, didn't he? When he looked to be odds on to get past.
I think Thomas Robertson might have been a little bit relieved that he trod on the ball.
He was, for sure.
Falco, Pedersen, space for him to work, couldn't pick the run because Green was there, and he finds Shockey. And look at the run here to the right, it's Gaspari. Shockey looking to line him in. It's Josh Gaspari! And it's hit the post! How unlucky can you be?
Dead unlucky.
And now here's Tuggeranong at the other end. Lawrence for Emmanuel. And he's got the pace and the power, and he's got Neelan square, and it's Robertson with a brilliant bit of defending.
Wow.
Otherwise it was 4.
And that should have been. It should have been. I mean, it's gone from what was almost 3-3 to should have been 4-2. But great football, end-to-end football. Gaspari, that ball just a little too hard for him to get a good contact on, but my goodness, he made a terrific effort to get it onto the post.
It looked for all money like it was 3-3, and it looks for all money at the other end like it should have been 4-2. Alessandro Pena for Luke Stevens, and his first task will be to take the corner. But credit where credit's due to Thomas Robertson. Brilliant piece of defending.
Never give up attitude, and that's what got him there in the end.
Nick Emmanuel might have shot himself, but he tried to roll it to
Neelan.
Did the right thing.
Did exactly the right thing, and it just probably lacked a little bit of pace.
Pena to the near post, stun away. But he left Jack Green for dead there, didn't he?
He did.
It's really well run by Sakamoto.
Just limping a bit as well.
Nick Emmanuel.
Yeah.
Dickinson blocked by Pena. Forward by Gaspari, helped on by Daddario. Shockey kills it beautifully. A little technician.
Yeah, he's a good player, isn't he? Looks a good player.
Happy to wait for the corner kick.
Yeah, genuine number 10, can play probably a little bit further if they ask him to, but he looks to be the sort of player that wants to get other people involved in the game.
3 Japanese midfield technicians in our league. Takeo Miyabayashi at Queanbeyan City, and Tomohiro Ogawa, our reigning player of the year at Tigers. Gaspari into the area. Important header. Comes out for Brown. Initial block. Burns goes back, and everyone wanted him to go wide.
Yeah. I mean, the Gungahlin faithful are just wondering why there is so many negative passes out of midfield.
Mumford
Not a happy night by Adrian Mumford.
The crowd just starting to turn a little bit on their hometown heroes.
Yeah, a little bit unfair.
The frustration, I believe, isn't it?
Well, nobody wants to be bottom of the table.
The performance tonight, arguably, deserves something. Although if you're a Tuggeranong persuasion, you'd probably say otherwise.
Just think those little things. Just when you need quality, they just haven't had it.
Pedersen finds Neelan, and he can have a go again up against Robertson. And getting the shot away, and it wasn't far away again from Steve Neelan. It whistled past the post.
Great football from Neelan. He's coming into his own. I mean, 10-man Gungahlin have obviously got to change a little bit of shape, and they've done that, but Neelan has really come into his own in that last 10 or 15.
He's brought the travelling supporters club with him. And he's going to come to Neelan again. And he gets a shot away again, and Mumford saves again. Here goes Neelan again. Pena. Back for Sakamoto. You feel there's another goal for Tuggeranong here. Might be coming.
Well, if you keep giving the ball to Stevie Neelan, there's a chance, that's for sure. Just as likely to come from somebody else. Huh?
Foxall's ball for Neelan again. Invites Pena on. Neelan to clip it in. Slipped by Manuel and a slip by Green.
Brought Mumford into the game and comfortably released to get Gungahlin back on the attack.
Just over 5 minutes of regular time, but that's really good work from Nick Emmanuel.
But it's again turning back to play backwards.
Pedersen,
you know, you're losing 3-2. You might as well lose it going forwards.
Sakamoto. One back by Robertson. And here he is going forward again. Robertson does well. Daddario sweeps it in. Kite's arriving, and that's good defending.
Zach Lawrence,
Zach Lawrence, yeah.
Yeah, right place, right time. Yeah, good defending. Really good defending. Good clearance.
5 minutes to go, plus stoppage time.
Here's a golden opportunity, though. Set pieces, when you're down to 10 men, they say, is the way back in, or at least one of the ways back in.
And Jack Green, who hasn't scored a goal this season,
is due.
Loves these kind of situations. Josh Kaspari to take.
I think if I'm Tuggeranong Neelan, to be up here, be off the halfway line.
In towards the middle. It's going to come through Kaspari. Hammered away. Touch was good at the back by Burns, but the clearance he found Sakamoto. Robertson. Combination of Neelan and Emmanuel does for him. That's a good challenge again by Robertson.
Solid.
Tuggeranong ball though. The card here. Someone's had a word. Is that Daddario?
I'm not sure.
It's either Daddario or Gaspari. I think it might have been Charlie Daddario. Giancarlo. Cole got rid of the gloves after he dropped that one earlier. Green sweeps one out.
Yeah, he's asked him a lot.
That was the advantage played as well. Lawrence forward. Green brings it down. Space for Daddario. That's where he's gone. Sakamoto won it, but it will find Giancarlo Daddario. Yoshida Shoki. That took a nick, and it might dip. And it had Cook worried.
It did for sure. Had a corner. But again, I think the better option was to sort of float that to the back post. Unlucky in the end that the deflection didn't take it in for him. And a good football from Jack Green, Daddario and Shoki.
I'm with you, though. I mean, stick Neelan halfway.
Yeah. I mean, one-on-one up here.
Everyone back in the Tuggeranong shirt. Gaspari with the corner kick. To whip it to the near post. Defensive work done.
With just the head of the knee, isn't it?
Nick Emmanuel. And you think if Neelan did go up, would that mean they'd have to leave a couple back?
Well, at the moment, it's pointless the defender being on the halfway line when they're looking for an equaliser. And when you're up against 10 men, you can afford to have 1 or 2 players further up because they will have to either leave you or bring players back.
Gaspari goes short, gets a return, change of angle. Cook wants it.
And now you would have been away.
And claims it. No rush, though, for Tuggeranong United. Nope. They lead.
They're in the box seat.
2 minutes to go. Cook launches it. Burns wins it.
Got a lot of it, too.
Gaspari couldn't keep it in. It's the kind of stage of the game, Steve, where you pretend not to see the ball by the flag, and you'll go off wondering for that one down there.
Yep.
Zach Lawrence. Nealon's touch was a bit loose. Pedersen been solid again tonight, Josh Pedersen.
Yeah, he's done all right.
Sakamoto. Pena. Emmanuel Robertson solid again.
I tell you what, Emmanuel's led that line well since he's gone up there. Big body, puts himself about, got himself into good areas.
He's quick as well, isn't he?
Well, he's got enough pace about him, yeah.
Most of his running is very direct. We saw that in that cup tie against Gungahlin when he bundled his way through to score, the 4th. Cole Falco with the throw. Long one in towards Nealon, the only person in the area. Bounces in a really nice spot. If they'd have more players up top.
Yeah, it's all about game management now from a Tuggeranong point of view.
Oh, Mumford has drilled it straight into Emmanuel, who could seal it here, and does. A horror mistake for Gungahlin United, and Nick Emmanuel scores the 4th and probably seals the points for the men from the south.
Well, it just hasn't been Adrian Mumford's night at all. He's probably been responsible for one of the goals prior to this, and he's certainly responsible for that. I mean, that was just a ridiculously poor mistake, and we know he's a better keeper than that. But he's not had a great night tonight, and maybe tonight we're actually seeing the reason why Gungahlin are, in fact, where they are on the table.
Made that stunning save from Steve Nealon moments ago, and then rolls one out without seeing Nick Emmanuel, and just drilled it straight into him, and Nick Emmanuel will not score an easier goal, but a vital one as well. And Tuggeranong United look like they're going to 4th place in the league table ahead of the games tomorrow.
They should do now.
Gaspari, unless there's a miracle conclusion, and I'm not going to say it's not going to happen because we saw the Gungahlin game. That one's in, and that's a cracking save.
What a save that is.
Denied by Cook.
What a save that is. I mean, we said at the start of the game that they're struggling to score goals. They've got 2 goals tonight. Should have had another couple at least. And that one, for all intents and purposes, was in. But Cook has got there and tipped it over the bar. That was just brilliant football action.
Dario can't believe he's not scored. Sensational from the goalkeeper.
And you've got to say, sensational ball in from Gaspari to find Dario.
It's come out again. Burns, who sent it right back. Green's got the touch on it, but Cook will get there ahead of Shockey. Some of the Gungahlin faithful have seen enough.
Yeah, I think if we're being honest with each other, Russ, I don't think we're going to see Gungahlin come back now.
Seems unlikely. We're into stoppage time. We've had a minute and a bit of it.
I mean, that goal goes in for Dario, maybe. Surprise might have come. But realistically, the goal immediately after the send-off was a heartbreaker. And the 4th one, genuine mistake from the goalkeeper.
Rather sums up the season they've had, doesn't it, that goal?
It does. But it's, realistically, it's the icing on the cake.
Well, it's just given Tuggeranong a bit of breathing space. That means they don't have to worry a bit too much about this as Dario sends it in.
We'll have another corner. If they would get another goal, it's not going to give them a result, but it'll do wonders in terms of the way they finish the game.
They'll look back at this one and think, well, they could have got something out of it. As weird as that might seem. Here's Jack Green through the crowd and off the line.
They've been in front twice. You've got to be able to hang on to those leads. You've got to manage the game properly.
Well, they've just seen Cook save one and one off the line.
Yeah.
As they throw everything at it. Swung in again. Cook's missed it. Maybe another corner. This is racking up the corner count. What's this, 5 in quick succession or something like that?
It's 4 or 5.
Gaspari again. Whips it to that near post.
He got tired, I think, taking him.
Away by Neelan. Burns. Here's Dickinson. 4 to hit in the box. Good flat delivery, and that's a wonderful overhead kick.
Yeah, good effort. Charlie Daddario again, I think. Really good effort. Nice ball in, nice flat ball with pace. Daddario improvised. Very nearly got it.
Tuggeranong will make a change to kill some seconds. Nick Emmanuel.
Well, hasn't he turned the game around with his forays forward? Great tactical change from Mitch Stevenson. Great tactical change.
Got it spot on, Mitch Stevens. Tim Santos comes on for what is the final seconds of the game. For his own fan club as well. He's playing centre forward, Tim Santos.
Yeah, it's just like for like for Emmanuel. Yes, Gungahlin. Where do they go from here? What do they look at next? Can they bring people in the window that'll help them out? Bottom of the league makes you a less attractive club.
Shockey advancing forward. Finish. Got a nick. It will be a goal kick. But it might have taken a deflection. There will be silly season now. There will be players. Clubs that might look at some of these Gungahlin players and think, what if we can tempt them?
Well, that's the danger, isn't it, when you're struggling in the league like they are, that your better players start looking elsewhere. I mean, if there is loyalty, then I think the likes of Gaspari have to be retained. Shockey, I think, has had a wonderful game. They've got players in, Jack Green's. They've got 3 or 4 of the best players in the competition. So they've got to build around that, and they've got to do it quickly. Now, if there isn't to be relegation, then this is the season to be struggling, because you can actually build from your program and give your younger players time to establish themselves.
5 minutes almost, the stoppage time gone.
It's a long time.
Gungahlin United 2, Tuggeranong 4. Many would have expected the visitors get a result tonight, I think. Maybe not as emphatically as it looks on the scoreboard in the end. But it's probably a bit harsh on the men in pink. Steve Forshaw?
It probably 4 is. I don't know that they deserve to concede 4, but nonetheless they have. That's what the scorecard will say. That's what the history books will record. Tuggeranong at the start of the second half looked to be second best, and the equalizer brought them back in and gave them a fresh impetus. The sending off, conceding a goal straight away, was probably the moment that the game changed permanently in favour of Tuggeranong. Then the Emmanuel finish from the mistake from Mumford made the scoreline look probably more emphatic than it was. But good game. Tuggeranong, in the end, worthy winners.
Thanks very much, Steve Forshaw. We'll do all this again tomorrow on the National Premier League as O'Connor Knights make the trip to Deakin Stadium for the Chivapi Derby. Make sure you tune in for that one from 5:20 for a 5:30 kickoff. Here tonight, though, under the Friday night lights at Gungahlin Enclosed, it's Tuggeranong United who'll take home the spoils. They trailed twice to Thomas Robertson and Yoshida Shockey, but managed to get level each time through Romeo Yambrek and Bevan Foxall. Then Steve Neelan popped up with his 6th league goal of the season, and in the final seconds, Nick Emmanuel made certain of it, and it's Tuggeranong United who will head back down the highway with 3 points in the bag and 4th place in the league at the moment. The final score at Gungahlin Enclosed, Gungahlin United 2, Tuggeranong United 4.